And for the older kids, anybody who's like 3 and up, basically, we will need to do some form of evaluation so that we know what we're working on. So you, again, people will call, they'll get you, you'll have a substantive conversation about the history and what's happening. And then we're going to need to do some more sort of probing to figure out exactly what we're going to be working on if we determine that we need to be working in some speech and language therapy. And that's sort of for the older kids. Either they have an eval or they need an eval.
And if a child needs an evaluation, I can make recommendations about that. Of course, Speech Kids does full formal evaluations. I also like to let people know about all their options for evaluations, that every child has the right to a free evaluation through the county, or if you're in DC, through the state, through an organization called Child Fine. That process can take a little time. You know, you call them up, they send you their paperwork, you send the paperwork back, then they schedule you, then the appointment happens. So, you know, it takes a little time, but it's free. And as a result of that evaluation, your child may be found to be eligible for free services through the county as well, or state. So that is the Child Fine option. And then if you need to get a direct insurance covered evaluation done, most of the places that do those direct insurance covered evaluations are the hospitals and universities. They all have outpatient speech therapy clinics. There can often be a wait list, just to warn you, because they're the only places that work directly with insurance. But then it is directly covered. So as long as we know that you have one of those other processes in the works for getting a full evaluation, we're willing to, you know, start services. We can also have a lot more flexibility in terms of how we do evaluations because we're a private practice. So we can integrate evaluations into ongoing treatment. We can do some specific added testing as needed in specific areas of complication, you know, that are complicated. We can tease out those things. You know, we just have a lot more flexibility about how we can do that.
But the nice part is when people come in and if they need an evaluation, there are lots of different ways to get that. And some of them involve no cost. And we always like to say, like, we would rather that you spend your money on treatment than on the evaluation. And so we are actually thrilled when people go elsewhere for evaluations. We will happily do them also, but they're time consuming and they're costly. And if you can get them elsewhere, you know.
Yeah. As I say to most people, a full formal evaluation with Speech Kids is kind of going to be a work of art, to be quite frank. Which really only makes sense for kids that are developmentally in a place where they can be tested for everything, because a full formal evaluation tests everything.
That's right.
And they're very useful for things like building a strong IEP at school, or for specific school support, no matter whether you're in private or public school. So they tend to serve a more specific purpose and need a lot more detail for that purpose.
Yep. Where else can people go to seek speech therapy services? If they're,
well, it's same as an evaluation, really. It's, you know, you would have to go through the evaluation process through Child Fine, through the county or the state, in order to find out if you're even eligible for free speech therapy services, right? But then all those hospitals and universities I was talking about that do evals obviously also do ongoing speech therapy services. Those are the direct insurance related options.